In this tutorial, we're going to show you how to make one of the coasters to cut out on the laser. We're going to open up Rhino, and we want to make sure that we are in small objects inches for this. We're going to maximize top viewport so that we can work in there, and we're going to give ourselves something to work with. We want to do no bigger than 4 by 4, so I'm going to start with the rectangle. Click on that tool, 0, 0, enter, 4, 4, enter, and there's our 4" by 4" box. Now the shape doesn't matter. You can do square, you can do a circle in there if you want. That's up to you, but we want to make sure that it stays within that 4 by 4 parameters. Now we can draw stuff on here if we want. We can use text objects. Type in text object, hit enter, and we can put in, we'll just put Banks in here. We can put in any text that we want. We can change the font. We can use the up and down key to change it and see it in real time. But regardless of what we do, we want curves selected and we want to group objects. We can adjust the height to give us an initial start, but ultimately we're going to change that later. So I'm going to go with Banks, United Sands, we're bold, I have curve selected, group objects, hit OK. Okay, I put that in there and realized, whoa, that is way too big. So if we click on that, let's use the scale command, and we're going to go ahead and shrink that down. I click on 2 points and I drag it. Now I can take and move it around. If when we click on it we don't see these arrows showing up, go down to the bottom and click on Gumball, and that will make those show up, and then we can move it on the y-axis, we can move it on the x-axis, or we can drag it around. So we can add whatever we want to in here. We can, if we want to get really crazy, we can go ahead and we can, draw some cool curves. There's a lot of tools listed on your handout that you can use. Maybe we like that. We're going to offset that. Let's go up here. We'll go 1/1500ths of an inch. Hit enter. We'll go this way. Yeah, that's kind of a cool curve. Let's go ahead and we'll connect our ends using the polyline tool. So there we go. We like that. We're going to go ahead and join those to make sure that it's all joined. And maybe we like that. Banks, got this little curly Q here. Now if we're happy with this, we're going to go ahead and click on the Layers tab over here on the right, and we need to change a few things. We're going to make layer 1 red. If it's not already red, we can click on that box. Opens up this menu, and then we'll click on red. Now red is going to be anything that gets cut out. So the outside, or if we wanted these letters to get cut out so that they were not there, so that they were negative space. We're going to go to layer 2, and we're going to make that one blue. So scroll up, there's blue, hit OK. And now we're going to move some things around on the layer so that we make sure that we get the appropriate function going when we go to the laser. I'm going to stick with the circle, so I'm going to go ahead and delete the square just so it's off of there. Now I'm going to highlight the circle and anything else that I want cut out. I'm going to right click where it says layer 1, scroll down to change object layer. What that's going to do is move that circle onto our red layer. Now for the epilogue laser, the other thing we have to do is come over here to print width. Since we're going to cut that out, click where it says default, and we're going to select hairline. Hairline will tell the machine we want that cut out. It's going to do a vector cutting, and hit OK. Now our little curly Q that we drew and the banks, we're going to highlight both of those. We can either drag from the lower right to the upper left, or we can click on one, hold shift, then click the other. It doesn't matter how you select those. We're going to go to layer 2, and we're going to right click and go change object layer. Okay, now those are blue. What I want to do here is I want to make sure that it engraves inside these letters, so it's not just doing the outside of the letter. So where this little check mark is, I want to check right below that under layer 2. What that means is that I'm working in the blue layer 2 right now. And I'm going to highlight those two things, and I'm going to type hatch. H-A-T-C-H. Hit enter and hit OK. So what that did is that filled that in, and that's going to tell the machine we want to do a raster cut there, and we want to fill that in. Now, I also need to change the print width on that. So where it says default, I'm going to click on that. Only this time, I need to type in 0.175. 0.175 tells the machine that we're going to do a raster cut, so it's going to go back and forth and do a bunch of thin lines to fill that area in. Hit OK. And if I'm happy with that, I'm ready to go through the print setup and actually get this cut out. If I'm not, I can still make any changes that I want, or I can add other things in. But that's the basics of getting your coaster done, getting it set up, adding stuff in, and then getting our layer set up so that we'll get the the hairline will cut it out, do a vector cut, and the 0.175 will do a raster cut, go back and forth. If you want to add an image, you can do that as well. Look at the tutorial on using Inkscape to vectorize an image. Also, there's a bunch of other commands that are listed on your handout sheet. You can play around with those and see what you can change. We could take this and we could rotate it if we want. Lots of other things that we can do. So play around with it. It needs to be no bigger than 4x4. If we want it rastered or engraved, make sure that it's hatched.